And welcome back to today's Retirees with Certified Financial Planner Wayne Maslick of Great Lakes Benefits and Wealth Management. On today's program, we are talking about what is important to you about your money. And everybody has different thought processes. Every family is different, Wayne. We've talked about some of these: not running out, not losing it, paying taxes on it, or minimizing paying taxes on it. Do we want to leave it to our children? Do we want to give it away? Do we want to grow it? All of these kinds of things. But there's four things that you hit on in our last segment that you always go through. And I had some questions about these, and I think we have some of them on the screen. The first one is growth. If I want to grow my money, now, when you're trying to get someone or some family to figure this out, is growth really important? I guess it depends on the individual, but how do I think about that? Where do I start with that?
Well, of course growth is important, and the other ones we're going to cover are important too. They're all important, but we have to prioritize what's most important. Okay? You know, if growth is most important to you, and you want to grow your nest egg above all else, what do you think we have to do?
You have to invest aggressively.
Have to invest aggressively. We have to take risk.
Okay, risk.
Okay? Along with risk comes a few things. One, you have to be able to park your money there for years.
Okay.
7, 10 years or longer. Because the market corrects. The average bear market, lasts, I think, 4 to 6 years. And we have a bear market roughly every 6 years.
Okay.
So you have to be able to leave the money there. Okay. Also, you have to be able to stomach loss.
Sure.
And depending on how much risk you take, we always talk about that. And I'll just tell you quickly: if you're a conservative investor, you should be able to lose 15% of your money when an 08 happens. If you're moderate or balanced, you should be able to lose 25% of your money. And if you're an aggressive investor, 35% plus. So if you're balanced, kind of a moderate person, and you put $100,000 in the market and it's 75,000 next year, you better be okay with that.
Okay.
And not panic and move out to cash and all that stuff.
Sure.
If not, if you can't do that, you should have never been in that type of risk.
Okay.
So if your number one objective is growth, you better be able to accept loss.
Okay. All right. Well, how about the next one is taxes? Maybe the thing that we want to do is, most important to me is I want to minimize my tax load.
Yeah, when we're looking at controlling taxes, we have to look at the person. Okay, is it because we have a lot of dividend-paying investments, dividend-paying stocks and mutual funds, or there's a lot of capital gain distributions, and we're not using that money, so it's causing our Social Security to be taxed higher, it's causing us to bump a tax bracket, and we're not even spending this money. So maybe we take those types of investments and we get them in more tax-favorable investments.
Sure.
That may be. Another method is, well, maybe we want to control our distributions at 70.5. So we get a little more aggressive with getting our IRAs into Roth IRAs. We're going to focus on taxes.
One of the all these things go through my head when we're talking about these things. Most people, they've gone down to the broker or they've listened to the other experts on television or radio,
or they're doing it themselves.
And they're saying, well, you hear this all the time. Well, I've got all of my stuff in mutual funds, and I've got a couple dividend-paying stocks. Maybe I bought Cedar Fair or whatever. Locally here, everybody's familiar with that one. So I'm sitting pretty good, and I'm not taking risk. I'm growing pretty well. I've minimized my taxes, and I'm sitting here pretty good. But you're telling me one of the things on here is safety, and I think. I'm sorry. We're at there we go. Safety.
Yeah, the last two are liquidity and safety. But if you want your money liquid, get your hands on it. You're not going to be in a Cedar Fair or a mutual fund. We just talked about you got to be able to leave your money there 10 years. Leaving it there 10 years isn't liquid.
Okay.
Now, we may be able to get our hands on it, but Warren Buffett says if you can't hold a security for 10 years, you shouldn't own it for 10 minutes. Right? We're risking that, hey, if we happen to need this money and the market's down, we're in trouble.
Sure.
And the last one is safety, like you said. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Cedar Fair or mutual funds or taking risk as long as it's with not too much of your money.
Mm-hmm.
But too many times, it's all of their money.
Right.
And if safety, when we look at safety means you don't lose.
Right.
It doesn't mean moderate or less risk. It means you never lose. That's safety. It's safe. That's the word safe,
Right.
not safer.
Mm-hmm.
It's safe.
Sure.
So if someone puts safe as a priority, like as number before growth,
Mm-hmm.
then their investments better look that way.
Sure.
Okay, nothing wrong with Cedar Fair, but it's an individual stock
Mm-hmm.
in an individual industry.
Mm-hmm.
One stock in the entertainment industry.
Right.
I mean, come on. If you like the entertainment industry or that amusement park industry so much, well, then you should do what? Diversify, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you should own multiple stocks from multiple companies,
Mm-hmm.
not just Cedar Fair.
Sure.
Maybe Disney and maybe some other things. People don't do that though, Richard.
Right.
They invest in Cedar Fair because it's in our own backyard.
Right.
If it was up in Michigan somewhere, you think they'd own it?
Exactly.
No. Not that it's bad, just be careful.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure your money is where your values are.
Right.
So with growth, safety, liquidity, taxes, prioritize that and then make sure your money matches that.
Sure. So friends, that's why it's important to call Wayne, 866-626-3990. Sit down and go through this process because, as Wayne was saying before in an earlier segment, many times he sees folks come in who say that they have these priorities, but their investments and their money says something quite different.
Exactly right.
And we want to make sure that your values, your ideas, and your idea and your importance that you place on the money that you have is reflected in how you deal with the money, how you invest it, and how it is taken care of. 866-626-3990. Make that call. If it's on the weekend, leave your name and number, and someone will call you back. We'll be back right after this.